Hey, what's up, everyone? My name is AJ, and today we're going to talk about one single coin and one narrative on one single coin. And I have to ask the question, WTF happened to Arbitrum? As you guys know, Arbitrum is a pretty promising coin that still, in my opinion, has a very promising future. But when you look at the chart, damn. Yeah, no, I mean, we got this massive wick all the way, top of the end of the beginning of 2024 had this massive. Since then, Arbitrum is down 94% in the past 750 days. And, you have to ask yourself, why is this coin why did it get completely obliterated? Question number one. Question number two is, why do I think we should still be buying it at these prices? So we have to pay attention to January 24, January to March of 24 is where we kind of put in this top right here. Let's look at Arbitrum's tokenomics. As you can see down here on the tokenomics.ai, right where the next step happened, right there, March 24, is when the next wave of tokens came into the supply, where individual wallets and some of the DAO were the only thing that was in the supply. And then on March 2024 is when the release supply went from 1.5 billion to basically 2.7 billion, when the investors, the team, more DAOs started to enter the picture. And now, as you can see, as we're approaching the next line here in February next month, the release supply is going to go from 5.1 to 8.5 because the Arbitrum DAO treasury is going to unlock a bunch of tokens as well. So should you be scared of that? Where do we draw the line with the bullish news that this coin has? All right. So am I saying it's ever going to get back up to here? I'm probably saying no. I don't think it's going to go back to $2.30. But that doesn't mean, even if you look at the bottom support resistance level here, 74 cents, even if it went from the current price to that bottom support resistance, you're still talking about 400% pump from just to that bottom level. And I think to expect a 4x is insane in any market, to be honest with you. Where else can you go and say, oh, I just want to multiply all my money by 4? We were spoiled in crypto in the beginning, but that's not the new normal. That's not the new meta. Even in the end of 24 to the beginning of 25, that pump was only 181%. So you kind of got to consider that the days of wine and roses are over. But I still think there are reasons we should be looking at some of these extremely undervalued coins, and I think Arbitrum is at the top of this list. All right. So WTF happened to Arbitrum? The answer is the tokenomics is what happened to Arbitrum. But now let's take a kind of zoomed out look at everything else. Arbitrum by market cap is under Algorand, above Render, sitting at 63 according to coinmarketcap.com. Market cap 920 million with 5.8 billion ARB in circulation. All right. As you can see, it's kind of just come completely down the hill. The market volume 13.86. So there are a couple of caveats to this. All right. And Arbitrum actually had a pretty good year in 2025. 2.1 billion transactions on Arbitrum 1, over 100 chains live or in development, 20 billion secured in 25. It just money secured, and I'll get more to that because of the Robinhood story, which is a massive catalyst for Arbitrum, and 30% growth in Arbitrum ecosystem GDP. So it spent the entire year just going. So from the beginning of, let's just go from January 1st. Where's the candle for January 1st? Right here, January 1st, right there. All right. Arbitrum is down 80% from the beginning of 2025. 80%. But does that mean we should consider buying it now? I think yes. I think this thing has to be close to the bottom. And let me tell you why. Robinhood launches stock tokens on Arbitrum. According to this tweet just yesterday, tokenization is the backbone of modern financial infrastructure. EU users on Robinhood already benefit from about 2,000 tokenized U.S. equities real-time on-chain settlement With 24/7 trading and DeFi access on the way, fast, low-cost settlement rails make this possible, and Arbitrum delivers that. So, guys, Robinhood could have chose any very fast, scalable blockchain to put 2,000 tokenized equities on. And guys, the tokenization of everything is coming. And when you see massive companies like Robinhood make a decision to a coin like Arbitrum, that's going to bring in other institutional vehicles that say, hey, Robinhood used Arbitrum. Why don't we use Arbitrum? And that's why I think this is completely undervalued, considering that tokenized equities, you know, all of my billionaire friends that I have right now are talking about two things: tokenized equities and prediction markets. Let's not sleep on Arbitrum just because the chart go down. Does not mean they're not building, does not mean they're not scaling, does not mean they're not institutionally attractive, because they are. I can prove it. I can prove they're institutionally attractive. Why? Q1 2026, Grayscale assets under consideration, smart contract, the first two, Aptos and Arbitrum, for Grayscale assets under consideration. Literally the top two, Aptos and Arbitrum. Wonder why that is. Not to mention, just 2 days ago, Arbitrum was leading the way with an $83 million surge that people are buying, absolutely blowing the water out of any other inflows compared to any other coins by over $63 million just the other day. People are buying the dip on Arbitrum to the tune of $83 million just 2 days ago. So now let's kind of consider the technical analysis here. First things first, just looking at the chart zoomed out, look at the point of control on the visible range volume profile, kind of sitting towards this previous bottom right here, a little bit above that. So this support resistance level is about 45 cents, almost 46 cents. And then there's this top, which also serves as support resistance right here at 61.9. Let's just call it 62 cents. Let's get this out of the way. So this range right here is really kind of what I'm looking at, because look at the amount of time it's spent inside of this range. It's spent 98 days. You know, it's spent 98% of these 98 days from, you know, from exactly August 2024 to November 2024. It's spent inside of this range right here. And then it broke down through this range, and then it came up and spent another chunk of time inside of this range to the tune of 59 days. All right. So once again, it's spent inside of this range. And what's interesting about the point of control is that the point of control is just about in the middle of this massive support resistance level that Arbitrum has spent 98 days in, 50 some days in. I believe it's very likely for Arbitrum to eventually turn around and find its way back into that support resistance level, where just getting to the bottom level would be 180% from right now, and getting to the top of that level would be 283% from right now. And when we look at Market Cipher here, Market Cipher B on the daily chart, you know, we are at the bottom of a momentum wave. We have a big green dot printed here. It would really be nice to see it, you know, to finally get above that, you know, the 50 EMA. You know, obviously on this downtrend here, make this a little bit bigger, change the color on this. You should definitely set an alarm on this downtrend, because really, how much further can this thing go down with the kind of news and with the kind of institutional attraction that this coin has with tokenized equities? I mean, this is like some Ondo level shit that's happening here. And I'm also really interested to what Ondo is going to announce at their summit next week. And Arbitrum is doing a hackathon right now today as we speak in New York. This is one of those deals where if you just look at the price and you just consider that the fact it's gone down, you're already dead in the water. Where you need to look at, okay, all altcoins got their teeth kicked in. You know, the fact that Arbitrum down it's not Arbitrum's fault. It's a symptom of a bigger problem, which is all altcoins got their teeth kicked in. So now we need to consider, what altcoins are we going to target? We're going to target altcoins that have ETFs or could get ETFs. Look at the March 16th deadline for the Bitwise, those 11 coins. Look at those coins. And what coins have big institutional money on chain? Like, what big institutions are choosing which blockchains to put billions of dollars on chain with. Robinhood is doing that with Arbitrum. How much further could it go? And when it breaks out, not if, but when it breaks out, how high are we talking? All right. So kind of looking at a 2-hour chart, kind of more of the same, just getting punished by the 50 EMA. But I would set a couple extra alarms here for you to be aware of, so you know that the pain is over. All right. So obviously we are aware of this wick when, that awful day in October when everything wicked down. That kind of serves as, it can't get any worse than that. And if it does, we should just go home anyway. That's 10 cents, 10.5 cents for Arbitrum. There's this level, which was the previous low, and then we lost that low. So reclaiming that is at 17.1, 0.171. And just to reclaim that would be about a 9% move up for Arbitrum. But what you have to consider is there will be a point where it's going to be forced to break out of this. And I would use that level as breakout confirmation for this massive downtrend that we previously spoke about. And then, of course, if you want to short Arbitrum, I would just set an alarm at that previous low here a little. I would just say if it goes into the 14s, I don't hate going short for the small time frame stuff. But guys, I'm not gonna beat around the bush here. Yes, this coin got its teeth kicked in. Why? The tokenomics did not work out. And the second all the other the investors, the team, blah, 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 once all that entered the fray, it got saturated and a bunch of people sold off. Okay. So let's not blame this massive dip here on Arbitrum not doing its job, it not being a good blockchain, blah, blah, blah. This right here was an issue with tokenomics. That's what happened. That is settling out. There will be new coins coming in too, but there will be a point where it equals out and it will find its range. And I believe that I'm postulating this range here, that it spent all those days in, that the point of control is inside between 45 cents and 62 cents. Arbitrum will find its way back into that range. And I think any Arbitrum you can accumulate under 25 cents, which is this previous support resistance level, bounced off it here, bounced off us here. This will be a level that Arbitrum will regain when it breaks out of the local downtrend it's in. And guys, that is a 58% gain from right now, just to get back to that floor ceiling support resistance level at 25 cents. You're talking a 58% gain. So when we zoom back in on the right now chart, I'm not completely freaking out about if it goes down a little bit more. I'm looking at the big picture and looking at, Robinhood, at all of the tokenized equities that are already on chain, the fact that it's being considered this number 2 asset under consideration in smart contracts for Grayscale for 2026, and it's outmatching all the inflows compared to other into other altcoins. So guys, there's a lot of upside despite the chart is extremely deceiving, and to not see this app as an opportunity is beside me. I will be accumulating Arbitrum until it reaches 25 cents, and then anything above 25 cents we can consider profit world once we get to that range I was talking about, where it spent all that time between, where was that range? Oh yeah, I'm too far down here. 45 cents and 62 cents. That's like taking profit type range. But guys, right now, any Arbitrum under a quarter is a good buy, but right now at 15 cents, any Arbitrum under 17 cents is a good buy. That's all I got. Don't forget, if you want to do any Arbitrum trades or buy some Arbitrum, make sure you click the link down below for Bitunix. Get yourself signed up. I do appreciate you. Shout out to the Telegram group. Got a couple extra setups for all the traders over there. If you want to join the Telegram group, send an email to ajalphagroup@gmail.com. That's all I got. And don't forget, I was looking at that camera while this camera was on. Here we go. This is the one I originally wanted. Amazing. All right, guys, smash the like, subscribe. What coin should I do next on WTF happen to blank? Let me know. I did it on SWE last week. Did it on Arbitrum. I think I'm going to do a WTF happen to Ondo, but I'm going to wait for the summit first so we can kind of update the news with the summit. So which coin should I do before Ondo? WTF happen to blank. Let me know which coin I should do next down below in the comments. Smash the like, subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to trade crypto today. Peace.